Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is unplanned kind of showcase video of Fairytale Tenebria or Tenebria. Me hitting arena during blind day, and it was just more of like I had my free flags, purchasable with the friendship points or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit it. And then by the time I started to realize, wait, I'm onto something, I already streaked for like 7 fights. I think it was consecutive like win streak of 7 fights using the exact same comp more or less. You guys will see it. I'll commentate on the fights itself, but it was really just RNG city. As most of you guys know, I don't push arena really hard. I didn't end up on legend because I got sniped down like 30 minutes before closing or whatever, but it's still really funny. And I think she's a fantastic hero. You guys have seen her probably used now a lot in RTA. I think she's one of the top picks. Well, I'll talk about it in the in her build. I'm gonna showcase the build at the end of the fights because the arena fights actually won't take that long. It won't be my usual 30-minute, fight video then into the build or whatever. So I'm gonna leave the build portion to the end and we'll close the video there. But in terms of the fights, I hope you guys enjoy the RNG. It's really no pun intended, a wild card, that's for sure. All right, enjoy. All right, so this was just the streak. As you can see, I'm buying the friendship flags about like 40 minutes before arena closes on Sunday. So blind day, no idea whose defenses or what. Again, like I said, at this point, I was already on a win streak. I think it's 6-7 consecutive. We'll see at the end of this fight. And it's just like, I'm gonna record this and I'm gonna make it content. I don't have no idea what I'm gonna do for it, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in terms of just RNG, like hitting Rylet right there. It doesn't even make sense. But I just went with it. I just had a lot of fun doing this. So this was more or less exactly what was happening to everything. You can see the Zero Ren proccing that sleep on Rylet. Although it could be risky there, but here I'm seeing like, okay, Landy's going. She's not silenced. May as well try to get the silence. We got the silence. So no CR boost, no AoE. And here I'm just planning on like, who I'm gonna hit, and who's gonna get the dual attack. Trying to avoid that Remnant Violet as much as I can right now, because one more hit on him and he wakes up from sleep. While if I missed him, he would have got his full focus, but I didn't miss him. So again, lots of RNG. I swear Fairytale Tenebria has some kind of like interesting RNG to her. Her being all about cards. I've used that pun over and over. In fact, I'm using that on my YouTube thumbnail. Cecilia finally gets a turn, putting up that skill and all, but it's a bit too late. She's still unbuffable.
I will not just stand by and watch. This way.
I don't usually do fights like this, but it was again like I was just like kind of bored, and when I realized like, okay, there's something onto this, there's something here, I'm just like, okay, let's record a video. So yeah, as you can see, the consecutive victory there is 7. So 7th, I'm like, okay, let's just do it. So I cleared everything on that table there with my team right there, because I see Cerise, I see a lot of Cerise with Celine. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna speed imprint Oxalots, and it's like we don't know what EE it's on. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use my Cerise. And then Marissa for the speed imprint, of course. So like, I'll get the turn more or less. This is still champion, I believe. Like this threshold is not legend. Legend players in terms of speed are harder to compete with for sure. That's why I didn't want to risk. I didn't know who I'm hitting, so Marissa was necessary. Triple S Marissa, of course. 8 speed. I think Smilegate, to be honest, like as a commentator, I think Smilegate is a bit scared to release more speed imprint heroes, even 3 stars. But look at that. So the hit on Rylet got a blind, so it's very, very good. And Marissa is his bait. And that's guaranteed 100% miss with the blind chance. So again, lots of RNG on my side. I technically, like you would never use this kind of comp unless it's secured debuffs. Like for example, Soulburn Bazaar and maybe like SBA, like Silverblade or Mintha, for like very high rate. Well, technically 85% if you don't resist to stun and burn and stuff like that. So technically that should be better than this. This one's like there's a lot of area that can go wrong. Again, I'm bringing it into Remnant Violets. This one did hit. 50% chance hit my Cerise. I think it's a lifesteal one. It is a lifesteal one. So this one was a bit tricky. I was like, ooh, this is not gonna be good. I shouldn't have went for him, to be honest. There, I should have just went for like Cerise. The soul burn with the lifesteal would have done more if I hit the Cerise instead. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it still worked out. Everything in this footage is fights that worked out and as many consecutive fights as possible. I do lose one in between, but I don't think it will be part of this sequence. I do lose one. I do lose my streak. I think after I hit legend. I didn't crit. Yeah, my RB scuffed. So I'm like, okay, like is it gonna hit? Is he gonna miss? It hit! Did you see that? It's so crazy. Oh, and it hit him again. So that's really funny. Yeah, and then the poison here, which I'll commentate later after the video because I did that recording before this one. I mentioned that the poison can be good on tanks. It turns out that was okay. I did 2,500 damage or something like that. So that's like about 10% of that Fallen Cecilia. So we're continuing on. We've hit legend. I'm like, okay, how far can I go on? So new list of opponents. And then this one's like easy speed content. That Sid's not gonna really do much here. So I'm like, okay, yeah, my team will shut it down. Series buffs are fantastic, of course. Having elemental advantage on that S3, very crazy. It's good versus like Adley and stuff like that. People who build that for countering Athletica. That's what Cerise is like getting there in terms of like high pick use. She's very solid.
Over here. Step aside. That's enough cocaine.
Yeah, like the Zero Ren proc. I mean, like it is, like I said, like I'm going to say rather. Mine is on Zero Ren because I didn't show the build at the beginning, but it's what I'm going for, experimenting right now. I think there's a lot more for me to learn in terms of like how to use her. Recently watching like some streamers using some DPS Fairytale Tenebria, which is looking promising. It's something that I wanted to try before, but the low damage mods discouraged me. This is good too because my Mersa, you know, I was lucky there because Sid could have gone before anyone, but because he got speed imprint, he doesn't go for Cerise because he has elemental advantage when he has speed buff rather, not speed imprint. So because all my heroes were full health at that turn, he decided to go for my Mersa, luckily, and he was blind, so AI be AI. So at this point I'm like, okay, I guess I'm blind, the dual attack is better than the S2. This one was pretty close, I won't lie, because that Moonlight Dreamblade there, that proc too. But yeah, people on blind day have this kind of like as much RNG as possible on the defense team. So don't blame them for MLDB. But again, look, like beating the odds. Alright, so this is after that loss. This is the second portion of my fights. I think there's 2 fights left. I do change up my draft after this one a bit. Again, with the Mersa, guaranteed that speed. My speed gear is okay. It's pretty good. So I wasn't too worried about it. We're in legend territory right now, but it's very close. You can see that the gap between his Fairytale Tenebria and mine is slightly wider. So I was able to get that turn there. This one was just really scuffed. Again, it's because of the Celine. It's because of the Celine, the Cerise, preventing that cleave. So I went with this option instead. This was just real fun though. This one, because he got that gap. He got that greater attack buff. So, and it was just pretty much, you know, the miss on Mersa is really good. But then I can return to favor here. Very lucky. Maybe there's 3 fights actually. No, I think it's 2. So yeah, so Fairytale Tenebria, I mean, I'm seeing her used a lot in RTA right now. But I'm very excited, but I'm still doing like research, like watching, you know, RTA streams and stuff like that, just to see like, you know, what kind of build. And I've seen like all types, like really fast, some are just like slightly slower, and like I said, the DPS build. But she just works in a lot of scenarios. Yeah, so this one, I think this is the last fight, because this one takes a long time because I basically control him to death. I mean, outside of RB, he's not really a controller, but CR pushback, blind. I mean, he's as good as a controller as almost any DPS, really. He's too loaded. But yeah, so this one, I mean, they got a K-Ron. I don't remember if it was counter, we'll see. But really, it was like, because the K-Ron I saw, so I'm like, yeah, it was a counter. So I'm like, okay, let's bring Cerise into this one. And I got Fairytale Tenebria both ice. I'm like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? This one ended up being a bit clutch, to be honest. Like, I won't lie. Like, there's no strip on that Ruel, and it wasn't because the Ruel had high resist. It was just that she got lucky in terms of like not getting that immunity stripped. So it was mostly like 150 effect resist with immunity. But no matter what, it shouldn't have like resisted like basically Cerise and F10E. I was trying to stun that Crow as well. I just didn't want him to put up an immunity. Or well, see the Zero Ren, pretty good. But again, it's just Zero Ren is just too risky though. Most of the time, most people would probably go for a Crown. Anyways, I'll explain at the end of the video when I show the build. Why go with Zero Ren? I think most people will still opt for Abyssal. I would say one big reason, although it's not my primary reason, is that I only own one Abyssal Crown in terms of a max limit broken one, so that's another aspect to it. That was unlucky that Broman did not get that S2 proc. The silence on Crow, very good. So Zero Ren just brings in a lot of interesting aspects. So getting the dual attack back, S3 on cooldown for Cerise is guaranteed dual attack from one of your allies. Very good. And yeah, in this case, my crown is on my Broman.
I will protect my people.
It was just fun. This was just fun. Although, I mean, no one would really do what I'm doing here, especially on arena, especially on blind day. If you're trying to hit champ, legend. I got knocked out. I finished all my flags like maybe 15 minutes before close. So yeah. So one thing about Fairytale Tenebria is that her cooldown cycle is way too long, and unless you have a supporting provoker, she becomes a bit of an issue in terms of that S2. I think this is why some people are building her as a DPS. They're seeing that, yeah, you're only gonna get one shot at really, you know, redirect provoking them, so they may as well make them a DPS, try to finish off the fight quicker. I think all builds are quite viable with her, except counter build. I think counter build serves no purpose for her. So unlike counter Dizzy, which can have Isle of Violin does AoE, or Abyssal Crown in AoE, she doesn't really do that. That S1 poison is not that great. Therefore, I like Zero Ren, or Abyssal Crown would be good for that S1 as well. That's it for the fights. Alright, so let's get to the build and the discussion on her. But before that, I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon family. And we got new members, Kariha and Sachan, or aka Potatoes. Welcome to the fam, guys. And as usual, Azure, Deek Boy, RG Fua, Stone Thunder, Torin B, Sean B, and Hippie to return as well. Thank you guys for this one. And so here we go. This is my build, and in featured in the video. So I'm using her on a Zero Ren. I think a lot of people use on Abyssal Crown. I think it depends on where you want to use her and how you want to use her. I know that some people are running her with like higher damage as well. I don't know about crit damage build at the moment, but definitely higher attack, like lower speed, but tankiness and effectiveness gotta be there. I don't know if people run her with her own artifact, the one that does flat damage. I heard that's actually really good on Champion Zerato. I went for Sewer Ren myself because I like the high proc rate chance. So compared to Abyssal Crown being 24%, stunning also gets in the way, to me at least, gets into the way of the redirected provoke, which I feel is like kind of like a loss if you do like stun them. There's pros and cons. I definitely have to say there's pros and cons in terms of the artifact. Seer Ren versus Abyssal Crown. I think Abyssal Crown, if you stun them for that turn, they don't get the redirect or provoke. And let's say you, luckily enough, you stun all the targets with redirect provoke on, and you don't have another provoker, then you might not be able to get the S2. Her flaw is that I think her S3 is actually too long in terms of cooldown duration. But you know, you could use Atika Scepter if you really needed that, but it's another 50%, assuming you have maxed Atika Scepter. 50% proc rate to reduce one turn. That's why I like her like lightning fast with some tankiness if possible. If you do use her in areas like RTA and you plan to use her as like one of your main heroes, Fallen Cecilia has to be removed. She has to be removed. The issue, of course, is that you can only dispel one buff. So if it's a barrier with immunity on the full team, then you have no idea which one's going to strip, at least in RTA, how it works right now. But otherwise, like if you remove Fallen Cecilia, then like it's fair game. You can dispel the immunity, you can place unbuffable and potentially redirect provoke. And of course, it's depending on your effect resistance and effectiveness check. If they do hit you, either they're provoked or redirected provoked, you do use wild card, which I definitely use this pun a lot because that's really what she is. She is a real big wild card. The random debuff on the return would be silence, decreased defense, and unhealable. All three are very, very crippling for your opponents. And the very fact that she also does additional damage based on the target's max health is actually pretty cool too. Not set on here, but we do have the data mine. It is 10% HP, so it's very good. So let's say, you know, an ML Crow or any knight, 25,000 HP. If you do practice, if it hits, so it can't miss them. If it misses, it won't trigger the additional damage. If it hits them, then that's 2,500 HP gone. That's a huge chunk. It's a huge chunk. And this is why I think that her artifact could be very good as well, because if you're taking on like more like high HP pool heroes, then you're gonna be doing like a crap ton of damage, right? Assuming that you have it at plus 30 again, it's 1,500 flat attack, an additional to 10% of this HP max health, so it's pretty good. Of course, you'll have a bit of issue fighting green heroes, because if you miss, again, you don't get that. But you know, that's why I like Seer Ren. So Seer Ren, you know, often not super good artifact on mages, and I think most people would still argue Abyssal Crown is better. But like I said, I like the chances of this. All of them to me are extremely crippling. If I do land a debuff or two on the S3 and then land another debuff or something on the S2, then I feel like this is really good. So it has decreased attack, decreased hit chance, silence, sleep, or poison. Out of the five there, only sleep or poison are kind of not as good. In terms of like the poison will probably do nothing, especially in PvP scenarios. The sleep is okay, but it's kind of like stun. It gets in the way of the redirected provoke. But again, it's kind of nice to have Abyssal Crown or the sleep on one or two damage dealers. And the only reason is because this can only trigger once every turn that she goes. So I said this before on my initial thoughts, like when I was kind of like reviewing her, is that most people's speed tuning won't be so far off that you'll be able to cut in before another person gets redirected provoked. You know what I mean? So like in terms of like, let's say if you do redirected provoke, you get all four. Most of the time, like one of them hits you, you use the S2, and then all three, the remaining three of your opponents will still hit you. Or sorry, rather hit the highest HP target. Actually, sorry, that's actually very important to know. It does, the redirected provoke moves to the highest HP target. So it hit the highest HP target. So you only get this once generally. You're not gonna be lapping them unless they're like an ML Ken at like base speed or SSB at base speed. You're not gonna be lapping them to do this multiple times. So that's where like I think Zero Ren could be good. The sleep is to me equivalent to the stun, except that you can wake them up. So it does depend on your style. Again, I just like that all those debuffs with a 50% chance, like any one of those that land except sleep or poison, is a winner to me. And then the S1 I still have a problem with. I don't think it's that good. Even if you do upgrade this, 45% chance to inflict 2 poisons for 1 turn. I think in PvE that's cool. PvP not so much, although it does chunk quite a bit of damage. I have had I don't know if that's actually, I don't remember if it was actually in my arena fights there, but there was, I think it was, I think you guys saw it. I'm doing this recording after the fact, so my commentary may be pointing out the poison damage, but I do remember hitting like a Fallen Cecilia, and she had like a couple poison stacks, so it did kill her. It was like enough. So I mean, with Zero Ren and with the S1, the other thing is that because if you do plan her to run her on a defense team, I do suggest something like Abyssal Crown or Zero Ren, because the thing is that you're most likely going to have a couple turns with the S1. And you want that S1 to do more than just poison your opponent. And I've seen my S1 like do like a sleep when I needed it, or you know, a silence. But you know, to a lot of people, it's too much RNG. They would prefer 24% chance to stun guaranteed instead of 50% chance to get maybe unusable debuffs. That being said, mine is at an A, and I showed the stats here. I'll show you the gear roll. Some of the stats that I'm showing here is mixed with like good speed and actually like decent tankiness, especially for mages, like mixed of flat HP and whatnot. So it actually turned out to be okay. I may not keep her on this gear though. Like I don't want to give her like everything. But this is some of my fastest gear on her. And so far she's just really fun to play with. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I still have to learn a lot more in terms of this. I think, I mean, if you can manage it, people are doing this now, but like 280 speed heroes on immunity set now is quite popular, because there's just like, you know, Assassin Sids, right? They can contend with this, like 300 speed Assassin Sid, no problem, and you get Silencer and stuff like that. So ideally, if you're watching this video and you're looking for like stats to hit or whatever, ideally you're completing an immunity set. But I mean, hey, if you don't got the speed gear on immunity, just do whatever you can for now. And this is what the best I can do for now. I have some speed immunity gear, but it's just like, I don't know. it's not mixed with the right subs. It's like it has like attack and stuff like that in it, and I don't know. I don't think it would really work for my style right now. Anyways, just keep farming Wyvern. But other than that, that's it for the video. If you guys did enjoy it, please leave a like or leave a comment, and let me know what kind of builds that you guys have going on. I just seen like, you know, other people's builds. Got some rough estimates. There's a lot of playstyle with her, but what I'm seeing right now is that she's just absolutely annoying to deal with in general. Like I said, in RTA, in like even defense comps, arena, guild war, offense, I just don't see her use that much because there's just way too much. I feel there's way too much RNG. Like maybe you like pop her against the Kayron or whatever. I think that might be okay. Although I did use her actually versus a Kayron, and he like resisted everything, which is annoying. But that 15% you can never really bypass. Anyways, I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.